Hi everyone, it's Pedro Baez, Go for Glory Stable. Today is May 10th, 2026, and this is the update for last week and what's going on for the next week. Um, so just gonna get right into it. A couple things to talk. Well, the only high level things really is just like I keep mentioning the Big Z outing in June. We're just gonna try to hammer that down a little bit more in detail, like which exact Saturday we're looking at, because I know I got I'm planning some things, so I might not be around one of those weekends. Everybody's got things to do, so we want to make sure we get that communicated out and scheduled kind of early so everyone can plan. So that's still in the works. We just gotta, working with Charlie, we gotta just iron that down, and Patty and Rob iron down which Saturday we want to do it on. Uh, so anyway, that's that. I'm looking down at my notes. I guess nothing really overall high level. This was a it's kind of like a business as usual week. So with that being said, we're gonna jump right into it. Um, Even though I always say that, and then there's something I remember at the end, and I wish I said, but I don't think we have anything. Um, I don't think we have anything overall to note. We had Charles Oliveira was at Yonkers, and he's Charles Oliveira is actually today at Harris, Philadelphia. My video will probably go out before it's too late. Anybody can even go. So he's actually racing in 5 races over there. He's the UFC former lightweight champion. Holds a submission record for most submission knockouts in history of the UFC. So he was at Yonkers. So he's been doing kind of like a little thing. He was at Yonkers. He was at Poconos. So that was pretty cool. Charlie was there. I wish I could have went there. Some of the guys and gals in Go for Glory actually went over there and had some fun. Um, Hoping I can start getting out a little more, once now that the baby's kind of like getting more acclimated and used to things. And getting older, obviously. So anyway, so that's what's going on. I'm trying to think in the industry. Um, let's see. Stakes racing has started in general, a lot of stakes racing. So the season's kind of getting going. That's why you see the big boys back at Meadowlands. And Trying to think anything like industry related that's like worthy. Not, I mean, there's a lot of industry related stuff worthy of talking about, but nothing really to go through right now. So we're gonna jump right in the horses. So this is the Paul Kelley update. And even with Paul Kelley update, it's not uh that much because he's running around right now. I went to Rob. He's running around right now, and he just got a lot going on. So the draw came out yesterday. So all the Geologic and Adios My Lindy owners, I think you have seen this. These are the draws. Don't worry about this 10 and 11. These actually are in Geologics race 10 and 11. These are actually also eligibles. They're not nine. It's a 9 horse field. Um, we got the 8 hole, which, I was talking to Paul this morning, and it's like, even if we drew inside, 1 through 5, this field is tough, with Silverstein, Endurance, Spencer Hanover, AI, racing to win. Could we win? It's horse race. Anybody can win. And anything can happen. But if assuming all the horses just trotted exactly to form and it was like robotic, it probably would have been difficult to win this race. Um, where we were racing probably for fourth or fifth if we got on the inside and praying for a miracle. Uh, Now it looks like we're kind of just racing. We're definitely racing for fourth or fifth. At least, fifth would be great. And even if we don't, and even if we finish 6 through 9, we are guaranteed a $5,000 check. So that's nice. But with that being said, anything can happen. So anything can happen. The favorites could break. We could have a monsoon. I think I checked the weather. It's still too early, and it looks like it actually will be raining potentially. But like I said, that's 7 days out, so things could change. Me personally, I would love bad weather because we know Geologic trots through hurricanes, um, and I think that would be an advantage to him. But we can't control that. So let's just see how it goes. And I'll be glad if we get fourth or fifth. If we get fifth, which is $25,000 check, I'll take that any day of the week. And especially from the A post, especially with this group from the A post. Grand Circuit, $500,000, $500,000 race. So that's that's the geologic. And then adios, my Lindy. I got to look at this field, but in detail. But just hearing from some of the guys, doesn't seem like this is a terribly tough field at all. Like I said, I got to personally take a look at it, but which means that bodes well because adios, she obviously got the three hole Yannick, and then she's got the hobbles on. So you see this little thing here, she got the hobbles on. Looks like she's the only one in the group with the hobbles on. Um, but hey, she needs it. We'll it can only help. She's talking to Matt Lamont, is one of our uh external partners, and he knows a lot about horse racing. And he I think he said she broke, I gotta look it up. I think it was like 4 out of 7 times or something. So she's got the talent, she's got the power. We've seen it when she didn't break. It's just a matter of how do we keep her flat? How do we get through a whole race flat? It's hard to even. Paul says he likes her. Wally says he likes her, meaning they likes her, meaning she's got a lot of power. I don't know until we kind of like see some consistent races from her where she's not breaking. It's hard to really tell I still don't know what she is. Like even last year, she kind of sold flashes. I don't even know what she is. She's got a nice family, so she's got the license to be pretty good. She looks great. So anyway, so that's she's in over here, and like I said, it looks like a good field for her. I would love to get top two in here. Top three would be great, but really love to be first or second in this race, and we kind of go from there. So that's on Saturday. That's what Paul. He's in Kentucky getting the horses ready for all that. He's racing another corner store tomorrow, so he's got some stuff going on in Kentucky, and then I think he's there for like I want to say. Let's see. Probably I think after that Saturday, so Saturday or Sunday, he's going to be heading to Vernon Downs, or sorry, back to Saratoga, and then to Vernon Downs. The next week, not this week coming up, the week of the 17th, 18th, he'll be at Vernon Downs, getting that together. He has to, get all the stalls ready at Vernon Downs and stuff like that. So right now he's really busy. The babies and second chapter, they're all in Saratoga right now at his farm, um, Saratoga area at his farm, and so it's kind of like chaotic right now with Paul. But that's Grand Circuit racing. It's chaotic with all these guys, the drivers, trainers, all these people. So anyway, so that's what's going on with Geologic, Adios Marlindi, and the babies. Yeah, the babies are all over there, just turned out right now. Second chapter, he got his hocks also blocked by the vet, and it wasn't the hocks. So basically, all the things of blocking the ankle, the coffin bone, blocking the hocks, blocking the stifle, trying to see which area over there is bothering him. None of that have proved conclusive at all to show like what the issue is. So the next step now is um uh has an appointment scheduled with Dr. Ross. I think it's Mike Ross at Pine Bush. I think it's like Pine Bush Equine, something like that. So in Pine Bush, New York. Um I know some of the guys in this group are actually live around there. It's actually horse country. Just so everyone know, I actually graduated from Pine Bush High School. Little did I know I was in the middle of horse country. I never even knew. Anyway, so that goes to show what where my mind was at. Anyway, so um he's going to Mike Ross, Dr. Mike Ross. He's going to get basically they're going to scan his whole hind leg. They're going to just do these like um ultra scans and all these different advanced bone scans to kind of see what's bothering him. We don't know, we don't know what it's going to show, but that's kind of like the next step in the process, just to see what's going on with him. Hopefully, it shows something that hopefully, in a perfect world, it shows something you know that's easily treatable. Like maybe they're looking in the right hind. Who knows? Maybe it's in the left hind. Yeah, you know what I mean. And maybe it's the left hind stifle, and then it's like, oh well, we can treat that. We can treat that. That's treatable. You know. So we don't know. We don't know what the issue is. It could also be an area that's like hard to get to, hard to treat. So we gotta see what the next step is. But he has an appointment. I believe it's Thursday next week. Um, Dr. Ross in Pine Bush, and we'll see. We'll kind of see from there what the next what the next step is. So anyway, that's the Paul Kelley update. Believe I covered all his horses. Um, yeah, the babies, the horses in Kentucky, and second chapter. So uh, we're gonna move on now to the Rob Harmon horses. So let's start with the babies. So I put a video up this morning of Beetlejuice. Um, he was in the front. He looks really nice. Really nice. He actually has a brother named Sevenato or Sevenato. He just raced at Meadowlands, 3-year-old, Chapter 7. He was $130,000 yearling. Raced at Meadowlands Tron Schmedhammer on Friday. Came in second, but looked really good doing it. Really good. Really nice. And he's the older brother of uh of Beetlejuice, and they got a similar, high gate up front. Um, so not sure what that means, other than the family is pretty nice, and who knows, maybe we got a bargain for 15,000. That'd be great. We only paid 15,000 for him, and he's crazy. Wow, he's been rock solid. People still want the chapter sevens. They'll pay a fortune for those, but Crazy Wow's been rock solid, so there's no reason why he can't be good. So anyway, we put that video up. The Phillies, the video is like very grainy and not good quality, so I'm not going to put it up. But they trained as well. All three did great. They all were in like around 219 on last week, and really nothing to note. They're doing well. So those are the babies for Rob. Let's do uh next up is let's do Beaueastel. He raced yesterday. Well, a lot of bows here. He raced yesterday, 3 posts, same class as before. It's a tough class. Now one is 8,000. He's the 3 horse. And mind you, everyone, there's a new starter at Tioga. You see how quickly he zooms off that gate? That's not how it usually used to go. So anyway, we're sitting fourth here. Ideally, I would have loved to be right inside that 5 and get in front of the 2 and be sitting third instead of sitting fourth, but neither here nor there. And then here's Bowie still going around the turn, and then he breaks right there. So and we'll get to in a minute why he broke. The rest of the race, not really anything to watch. I mean, he actually does. I think one of these horses breaks also, and then we end up getting fifth. I think the one horse breaks, but that break pretty much took him out completely out the race. The track was muddy yesterday; it was nasty up there. Um, so couple things. So the first thing is why he broke was it basically had to do with the horseshoes. If you can see right here, he wears a flip flop. It's called a flip flop. So you see how you have the horseshoe right here, the metal horseshoe, and then you got that little plastic thing right here the inside. That's these are the flip flop shoes, and it helps. It's more cushion for the horses, and it's more comfortable. And then he's been racing with it, and he appreciates the extra support. Um, and he's been doing he's been getting around the track right with it. But the problem with flip flops is, as you can see here, you got the metal here, and then you got the plastic here. Is when you get a muddy track, they slip and slide. So they're good for fast tracks, but when you get a muddy track, they slip and slide in the muddy track. So he's as you can see on that turn, he kind of bobbled a little bit because he was sliding on the turn, then he broke. So Rob's gonna take off those flip flops and put back on regular shoes or shoes with a little bit with some grab to it just in case there's mud again, and uh go from there. Hopefully next time we'll gotta get hopefully we'll try to get to the front a little bit easier. So the plan is um he can actually drop down a level. So the plan is to try to go um to Tioga, and he can drop down, see if that class fills. It didn't fill this weekend. It was 9 1 or 6,000. So we're gonna try for Saturday, see if it fills next weekend. And then if he doesn't get in that, we're gonna go to Plain Ridge most likely. It's a non-winner 7,500, so it's a little bit kind of similar to the level he's in now. But we don't want to miss a week, miss time or anything. So we'll go to Plain Ridge if he can't get into that lower level race at Tioga, or if it doesn't fill. So that's Beaueastel. And the good thing is he picked up $500, so it's like You're like, yeah, we need more than $500, but it's something. So like you always want to leave, never want to leave a racetrack with nothing. So you always want to get something at least. So he got $500. We kind of move on, and we got a game plan, live to fight another day. It's just hard when you rate with that race. It's just like it's hard to kind of he's not really in the race, so you don't really know how he can stack up. But if he can drop down, we'll take it. So anyway, that's Beaueastel. That's his story. Checking out the talent. He is jogging at Big Z, and this week on I believe Wednesday or Thursday, or Thursday or Friday, one of those. I gotta double check. Wednesday, I believe it's Wednesday or Thursday. He's going to train for the first time. He's been jogging up until now, so he's going to train for the first time next week with Rob. So we'll see. We'll hear some reports on how that goes. Enola, Enola raced yesterday as well at Tioga, and she was at the Open. The Open was finally filled. So last week it didn't fill. This week it filled. Six horses, which is always nice. Short fields. She's the five horse, and it's kind of grainy right now, but it'll clear up. Yeah, she's the five horse right here, and she was actually the second favorite. So she wasn't the favorite. She was the morning line favorite, I think, but betting favorite. She was not the betting favorite. That three was the betting favorite, and for good reason. So that three, we get right to the front here, which is actually perfect, and she actually gets to the front really easily. Like there's really no one challenging her. They're pretty much all letting her get to the front. That three though, to his angel. When I saw the draw, I was kind of like, "Who is that horse?" I looked at him and or her. It might be a girl, and she's not bad. She's not bad at all. She's just to give you a little. So 28 and three is really slow. It's really not bad at all. That three is well 28 and three in the mud is it's kind of quick. So let me rephrase it. They had like a -2 variant here, meaning um, whatever the speeds are, take 2 seconds off approximately. That's really what they would have went on the fast track. That's how slow the track was. So uh that horse, that three is what I would call like a late bloomer. So Mike Martin got a really slow 30-second quarter here, 30-second and two quarter here. And this the rest of the way she's just kind of motoring. I think we end up doing like a 28 and two third quarter, which is good. Probably could have in hindsight with that three being as good as she is, might have been one of those things maybe we could have pushed a little harder in that third quarter. But hindsight's 2020. So and 28 and two is still strong. So that three must have went, she gained what, 2 lengths, so she must have went 28 flat, 27 and four, to catch up. And then right here, Enola, she runs in a little bit in the turn, so she kind of slows down. But you see here in a straightaway, she's not running in. So on a straightaway, Enola's actually fighting back. She's fighting back pretty good right now. You know, where it looks like we actually might win this race, but then that three just nips us there at the end. 56 mile. 56 mile is excellent on that track on that day. Yesterday, that track was really slow, so 56 is excellent. It equates to probably like 54, 55, which is basically what we always see from Enola over there. So, but yeah, that horse that she lost to, it's that horse not a bad horse. That horse didn't look. She had braking issues. I think it's a she. I keep saying I'm pretty sure it's a she. She had braking issues as a 2-year old. Was braking 24/7, and then as a 3-year old, it's just like all of a sudden she just maybe she had the power as a 2-year old, but didn't have the maturity yet. Was braking, and then as a 3-year old, she just can get better and better and better and better and better, and then even she was racing in the winter series at Poconos and won the series, so which is a high level series. Then she was racing in some high level races at Poconos and competing. So that's a nice mare. So don't be like, oh no, look, I beat. She got beat by a really good horse. So don't sweat that in any capacity. All right, let's and Nola's back in the box for Tioga Downs on Saturday again. So that's Nola. So let's go to For Whom the Bell Tolls. We had a busy week, so we've got a lot of videos here and keep it rolling. From the Bell Tolls, she made her debut. Was it? Yes, after our video. So she made her debut on Monday at Plain Ridge. We had so many eight holes. It was ridiculous. Seven and eights last week. It was ridiculous. So there she is with the eight hole, with the eight post over there in the back. And this is a non-winners of two, I want to say. So it's really these are really inexperienced fillies and mares right here. These are probably just filly. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any mares in here, but really inexperienced horses. And she gets off the gate. I was afraid right here we might get parked, but thank goodness this two with Mitchell Cushing or Ron Cushing, probably Mitchell Cushing, maybe Ron, I'm not sure which one, lets us in. And we were kind of off to the races from there. And you can even see just right here, uh, not that two that's behind her, but for whom the bell tolls, she's got some size to her. She's not gigantic, but she's tall. She's got some size to her. She's like I said, she was like we always say, she was $102,000 yearling. So usually they don't buy peanuts, and shrimps for $102,000. Usually they look the part if you're going to spend that kind of cash. So there she is. She's sitting fourth. That horse behind her, in front of her, is actually like lagging by what, 3 lengths, something like that. So then we Jay tips out here, and 59 and one. So that's a really slow first half. That horse got a breather up top, but then Jay's flying. This right here, this is impressive. That backstretch brush, that was impressive. So, and then she flies all the way up from there to go eye to eye with that horse in the front. I think they tagged her at, when I saw the lines, I want to say she was at, yeah, so that was 27 and 3 third quarter, and she gained a boatload of lengths. So I think they gave her a 26 and 1 third quarter, which was incredible. You know, I say not incredible like the greatest horse ever made, but incredible as in we paid $20,000 for a 3-year-old filly pacer, and this is her first race out of first race of 2026, first real race, and she just grinds that horse down to submission. She just grind that horse down to submission. Overall, 56 and 3 back half. I think she did 55 and 1, which was just, like I said, when a race is going slow like this, you kind of have to read between the lines, and that was very impressive. Like I said, I'm not saying she's the greatest horse ever made. I'm just saying for the price we paid for a young 3-year-old filly pacer, Huntsville filly, former $102,000 yearling, only had uh, one parimutuel win heading into that race. Good job and congratulations for everyone who jumped in on her, and you did good work. So she's in Tuesday, same race, three post. She'll probably be heavy favorite, most likely, looking at that field. So if you're an owner and you're in town in Plainbridge, it's probably a good time to head over. You have a pretty decent chance of getting the winner circle on Tuesday with From the Bell Tolls. And then we'll kind of go from there. I think her first stakes race is on the 31st at Saratoga. So so we got a little time before that. But yeah, she she's rocking and rolling, and we're happy to have her back. All right, go to next horse. Uh, Next horse is, let's see here. Next horse is Gretzky the Great. Gretzky the Great, he is doing well. He's just swimming this week. So, actually, I sent out the big news with him is that he got the green light that his leg is cleared and ready to roll. So, um, like 3 weeks ago or so, Rob trained him, and it was like a little bit puffy. wasn't wasn't like really puffy, just a little bit puffy and tender. And then he had the vet look at it. The vet said he had like a 10% tear, and he said it was like the fibers were growing and tearing and recovering, and it's totally natural. And we've been swimming him ever since. So we had a rescan last week, and it came back. We got the green light, so meaning it came back very good, and the vet said he's ready to roll, meaning he could race right now, pretty much, qualify right now. His leg is healthy and he's good to go. So we got the green light with him. Thank you everyone for your patience. It stinks when you get a horse and then kind of we had him for a month and then he hurt himself. So that's the unfortunate part of this game, and it happens. But you got to do the right thing by the horse, and we did. We all did. We've been paying bills for months to get him back. So it looks like he's finally on his way. So Rob said he's doing well. He just for precaution, he's just going to keep swimming him for the next 3 weeks, and then probably look to qualify him end of May. I think maybe at the latest, like beginning of June, but just to make sure that that leg is good to go. We don't want to rush him back and then the leg, we re-injure him. We don't want that would be the worst thing in the world. So um, we just got to get him back strong, and then he'll probably be in like cheaper claimers when he comes back, just because nobody's going to claim. It'd be highly unlikely someone claims him um, off of 6 months rest, 6 months break, and an injury. Um, and Also, when your horse gets injured like that, sometimes those injuries can come back. So we just, he's a horse that we're probably going to race in claimers the rest of the way and just try to get as many wins as we can and then kind of move on. So anyway, that's Gretzky the Great. Um, so it's good news for everyone. All right, let's do Invictus. Let's do Invictus. He raced last night at Meadowlands. You know, he had a terrible post, 10 post. He's been drawing well. Overall, he's been drawing well for us. So that's why I'm not, does it stink to get 10 posts? Yeah, but he's overall been drawing pretty well. He's been due for this, put it that way. So there he is on the outside with Scott Zeron. And, you know, he actually does leave pretty good here. Um, not that's kind of like the best that Invictus could do. I mean, he could probably go a little faster, but still, you got 6 horses up here who are flying to the front, also going all out. So it would have been we would have been like the 6 and the 7 sitting here parked out, trying to get to the front, and that would have been awful. So we probably would have been parked out the whole mile. So because in Meadowlands they don't allow you to drop into holes. So you see here like they're all closing up the holes because that's what they don't allow you to. They have all these meetings and stuff that they want to close the holes and make the races more competitive, and that's what happens. So anyway, we're sitting in the back, nasty. It's also a sloppy track out, and there's really not much we can do. The pace, can't really see it here too much, but the screen is blocking it. Um, I was really hoping for like a 53 and change mile, which would be like really scintillating fast. We got 54 and 2. I can't really see it here. I think it's 54 and 2, 54 and 3. So it's fast, but for this group, it's not terrible. This group, they can handle it. So there he is in the back, Invictus. He's actually motoring along pretty well. The problem is there's nowhere to go. If he sat behind the 8, that eight's not keeping up. He's sitting behind the 9. He's hoping that outer flow starts moving. The outer flow is going nowhere. That horse on the outside is actually going backwards. So the outer flow is going nowhere. Then the horses start finally going 3, 4, 5 wide. He's got a choice. I want to go 6 wide. And then he actually does. He actually does say, you know what, I got some horse here. Let me just go 6 wide. So he goes 6 wide, and we actually do finish up the best in the race. We actually do the fastest last quarter in the race, but you know, it's one of those things where yeah, he was flying there at the end. It's one of those things where it's just when you're that far back, there's not much you can do. So there's not much anyone can do when you're that far back. And Invictus doesn't have gates. He doesn't have gate speed. He just doesn't. I know people want him to blast out the gate, but he just doesn't have that ability. He, you know, and then you don't want him parked out for the whole mile either. So you have to. He's 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 kind of dependent on the draw, even on the mile track. He's dependent on the draw. So we just gotta hope he draws well next week. He'll be back in the box on Tuesday for Saturday at Meadowlands, and it's just he got 2 bad draws in a row. So let's just see how it goes next week. Um, I always feel like if you keep kind of like obsessing over the draw, then the draw never goes your way. So I'm just kind of like, you know what? He's in the box on Tuesday for Saturday at Meadowlands. We'll see how it goes. So he's racing, the horse is racing strong, is healthy, and he fits really well in that class. It's just, he just can't really jump out to the front like that when he's on the outside. So, all right, that's Invictus. Just Rosa's luck. She raced on, did she race? She raced on, um, Monday. I'm not even going to show it. I'm not even going to show the race. That's the race where there was no flow. So basically, the favorite got to the front, slowed it down like a snail. Rosa was sitting all the way in the back. the favorite did a crazy back half. Nobody was catching that horse, and we were struggling just to even get. I think we ended up sixth, but we were struggling just to even get fifth because when you have really slow fractions up front and then the horse on the front is just like sprinting the last half, if you're 7, 8 lengths back, that means you gotta go a full second, 2 seconds faster than the horse in the front just to catch up, which is not reasonable, especially how fast that horse went. So she's in the box again uh for tomorrow at Monticello. I think she got the 5 posts. Let's see how it goes. There's a new horse in there, that was recently bought from Ron Burke. Um, I saw that horse on gate. She's decent. So we'll see how that goes. And then we got the really good horse on our outside. So it's not an easy race, but Rosa's been good. So we'll see what happens. She got the 5 post. Memento Mori, he um he broke behind the gate. I'll just show you what it's like very quick. It's very quick the break that he did. He had the 7 posts. I think he got the 7 posts again tomorrow. Just ridiculous. But once again, he's been drawing well, so he's been due. He's right here. See, it's so fast. Let me just kind of like stop it in the beginning. Oops. So you see how you can't, it doesn't really show, but you see how he's not on the gate? The gate's all the way over here, and he's all the way over there. These horses over here, they're on the gate. The 6 is on the gate, but he's all the way back here. You know, Memento Mori, he's the type of horse that he's not an easy horse to drive. So I say that to people, meaning he's a tricky horse. He's fast. He's got the world record and tied for the world record as a 2-year-old, but he's the way he is now, he's a tricky horse to drive. He's not a bad, like I said, it's not necessarily like he um uh a negative per se. It's just you have to be mindful of certain things. So like specifically at the gate, you can't rush them up to the gate like they were doing the last 10, 15 feet, where they were lagging behind the gate so much, and then all of a sudden, you ask them to like quickly sprint up to the gate. That's not what he does. So you can't do that with him. You have to kind of be more or less at the gate, on the gate, and just kind of like just coasting to it, and then coasting off the gate, and then kind of getting them in the groove and getting going. You can't rush them up to the gate and then think you're gonna fly off the gate. He's just not he's a tricky horse in that regard. So Rob will be there tomorrow at Saratoga. So talk to the driver. I think we got Kyle Swift, who's actually I think he's like number 1 and number 2 right now at Saratoga. Um, so he'll talk to him and just make sure he knows, what to do with Memento Mori. All right, so he's in tomorrow at Saratoga, 7 posts again. So let's just see how it goes. I just want to see those races are not very difficult. So I just want to see. We all want to see if he just gets off the gate and gets into the race. He should be okay in there. So anyway, that's Memento Mori. It's racing tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. My Hunter, My Hunter raced on Monday, and that was one of I'm not even going to show it once again, just like the Rosa race because it was disgusting. It was. I was talking to some people. It was one of the worst races I've ever seen on a half mile, and I've seen a few of them so far. And you see it more, I feel like at Yonkers and other tracks, but basically we were the 7 horse. We were sitting seventh, after the first quarter, and it was a single file until the third quarter. Single file. So no horses got off and went to and made a move to go, first over, second over until the third quarter. So imagine we're sitting seventh. We're probably eight. I say sitting seventh, but we're probably 8, 9, 10 lengths back because the horses are gapped out, and um, there's no movement. And then all of a sudden in the last quarter, they start sprinting the last quarter home. That's what happened. And when that happens, any horse that's like, more than 6 lengths back, it has no shot whatsoever. Danny Dubé, he could have went crazy on him, went berserk on Mindhunter, and we probably could have got fifth, maybe if we went berserk on him and just said it, like just all out, go get fifth. But he didn't, so he just kind of let him kind of coast home, and it was like that race was. very annoying to watch because there was no movement whatsoever. So we had zero, anybody in the back end, no chance. Anyway, with that being said, he did draw well for Tuesday at Yonkers. He's actually a 9 to 5 morning line favorite with the 3 posts. He finally got an inside post. It's been forever, and he's actually 9 to 5 morning line favorite with Jason Bartlett driving. We got #1 driver of the year of 2025 driving him, and he drove him once in the fall, so he's got an idea how My Hunter rolls. So let's just see how things go. There's no guarantees in this game. We're just gonna hope for the best. And I think if he gets a trip and hopefully, gets his first over move, um, we should be okay. Or even get on the lead would be nice too. So we'll see how that goes. That's on Tuesday at Yonkers. Um, moving down the line, we have Ship's Revenge. So Ship's Revenge, literally on uh right before I jumped on this video, um, we got a text from Ali Scavera, where Ships Revenge is based up in Binghamton, New York, and she said, "Good news, Ships is ready to be bred." So the semen from American Courage is going to be ordered tomorrow, and then Tuesday we're looking to a Tuesday breeding, meaning on Tuesday she's going to be bred with American Courage semen by the vet, and that was it. So and it's funny. I was talking to Paul about it, and Paul said saying it was like we're not in full. She's not showing signs of being eligible to be bred yet. And Paul said he's like just wait. He was like it'll happen like immediately in May. Just it'll happen so fast. And I was like, why do you say that? And he's like he just says talking to breeders, like very successful breeders and longtime breeders. It's actually you know. And Paul's not a breeder, just is him talking to them. It's actually May is the most common month for horses to be bred. May, believe it or not, May and June, like early June. Um, so like you do see those January foals here and there, those February, March foals. You do see them, but those are a lot of times from like most of the time, those are like proven brood mares who've had a couple of foals already, so their body knows the cycle, so they can kind of be tricked. Because horses usually don't breed until the spring, so when it gets warmer and the flower starts coming out in the grass, so the brood mares who are proven, you can kind of trick them a little bit. Um, you can trick them, that in even when it's freezing in February and March and even April, you can kind of trick them to be eligible to be bred and to come into heat. But when you have maiden mares like Ship's Revenge, they've never been through the process before, so it's kind of you gotta kind of let nature do its work a little bit. So that's what happened here. So as soon as things got warmer and consistently warmer and the flowers started coming, it just happened. Um, um, so so yeah, that's how it's gonna work. On Tuesday, uh she'll be I'm reading the message right now. Um, yeah, so she's ready to roll. So um, it's thank you everyone for the patience with Ship's Revenge. As you can see, they're not robots. It's not like automatic. You send her up there to be bred, and she gets bred immediately the next day. It's a process. These are animals. So we'll move on to the next horse. With that being said, and congratulations to the Ship's Revenge owners. But let's I don't want to say congrats yet. We got to get to the next step, which is to breed her, and then we got to make sure, next step is make sure she catches, which is make sure she actually gets in full. So that's where we're at with her. We're finally moving on to the next stage. Thank goodness. All right, Soho Skyfall. He raced on Sunday, I want to say, and he raced, I think, after I did my video. So we'll just show his race real quick because it has been amazing to watch our old friend come back to what we know he is. So he's the 3 horse here with just waiting, the video's loading up. But he's the 3 horse here with Mike Merton. I think the one was scratched. And this is a pretty low level race. So Rob basically double booked him. He basically was racing at Monticello, but he put him in before the Monticello race in here. So he fit here. But then he won at Monticello, so he wouldn't have fit. So it was good that Rob put him in before the race. So in other words, we double dipped last week. So he had 2 races in 5 days. So there he is getting to the front. And by the way, he doesn't have to get to the front, but he actually does. You see, he's 1-9 shot in this field. He actually does have good gate speed. So like we talk about horses like My Hunter, Invictus, trying to think who else doesn't really have a ton of gate speed. Um, those are like two horses that come to mind where they kind of almost Memento Mori is another one, you know, Uncle Rat. Those horses they typically just come off the pace, or they can defend their post position, but they're not really going to be able to fly out. Soho Skyfall, Enola, horses like those, they can actually, if they draw inside like 1 through 5, or even like 6, 7, you know, they could, if they want, blast out. They've got the speed to blast out. So that's why those are the good horses you want to have, you know. And in Soho, he's been a good horse. Like he just did a 55-2 first half here. At this point, he's starting to put them away. Those horses are just struggling to begin with, just to keep up with 55-2, 123. So he did another 28-1 third quarter. So that third quarter really was like a punch in the face to all of them. They were like probably hoping he did a 30-second third quarter, and then he sits there does a 28-1. So he basically puts them away in that third quarter right there, demoralizing them. And then here he's just rolling here. He's just rolling. Merton's actually um just kind of letting them pace it out, and he's really doing it on his own. And 53-2, which was comparable to a lot of the top races that day. So he was really good. That's our boy right here. Just so happy to see him back rolling, and that's the horse we know. It took a while. So just like we're talking before, thank you for your patience. It's game. It's not. These are not robots. There's ups and downs. They're flesh and blood. He clearly despised the freezing winter, and he was not himself. And then we had the horrible posts, 7 8 constantly, 6 7 8 at Monticello that he had to overcome. So thank you all for hanging in there. And he will be back. He's either going to be at Tioga. No, not Tioga. He's going to be at either Poconos on Saturday or Monticello on a week from this Tuesday in the Open. So just got to see what Rob decides. If he does Poconos, it draws tomorrow. If it does Monticello, it draws Thursday. Um, I don't think he fits really anything at Plain Ridge or elsewhere. So I think that's where Rob is leaning, just to keep him in good spots. So anyway, that's Soho Skyfall. So well done to everyone. And I skipped him last week by mistake. And last but not least, Uncle Rat, same as Memento Mori. Just going to show the beginning. He's the opposite of Memento Mori. He's the opposite. Um, Meaning, so look at him. This horse. Talk about a horse who just draws outside. 9 9 6 9 9 7 8 7. This horse always draws outside. I don't know what it is, but he's a closer, so it actually doesn't really matter too much for him. Um, so yeah, so we'll just start right off the bat. He breaks at the gate right there. You see him breaking? So we'll just start. We'll just start. We won't even. Oh, come on now. I just want to show you the beginning. So the key here is similar to Memento Mori. As you notice, here's his spot, and there's the horse. Here's his spot. There's the horse. The 6 is flying up. These horses are flying up to the gate. He needs Uncle Rat needs to be like this horse right here. So you see Jimmy DeVoe, who his sister won the Kentucky Derby. You see how he has his horse's nose right on the gate? That's what Uncle Rat needs. Kind of similar to Memento Mori, just needs to be kind of close to the gate. He just needs to be close to the gate, and then he'll do his thing. Um, Uncle Rat needs to have his nose on the gate and a bit in his mouth, and kind of like gunning and being aggressive. That's how he is. If you if you ask him to, like, just out of nowhere, to just hustle up and catch up to the gate, he's a quirky horse, and he'll break like he did. He doesn't do it that often, but he's a quirky horse. You should see him training. He's kind of got a mind of his own, but he's got power. Got a lot of power. So anyway, he's racing tomorrow. He got the 6 post, and Chris Long is back on him, and Rob will be there and talking to Chris and just say, hey man, just do what Jimmy DeVoe is doing right here. Get his nose right on that gate right off the bat. Don't play any games of sitting behind, be right on that gate. So we'll see how that goes. And it's a learning experience. Some of these horses are easy. They're simple. You push button, anybody can drive them. Some horses are more complicated, like Memento Mori and Uncle Rat, um, where it's a little tricky. Beaueastel's another one. You got to get off the gate with him. So anyway, with that being said, that's Uncle Rat, and I think that's the end of the video. So we got another action-packed week ahead. A lot of horses racing, and everyone, good luck with your horses. And the year is just heating up, and it's time to have some fun and make some money. So, all right, everyone, take care. Thank you.